Let's see. Okay, I think I'm back. Okay, never mind. I did not have to do anything different. I don't know what the glitch is, but it needs me to close out my stream manager for the computer to go back to normal. That is the most inconvenient way to fix the glitch. Whatever. Let me just finish this shit. I'm here for you. Thank you. Whatever. I maxed out my relationship with him. Staying in the cabin is messing with my head. I feel so lost some days. When I was 6, my father asked me to put flowers on the grave of our dead dog. That dog was very special to him. Helped him find food during the war. When he came back injured, he brought the dog to meet my mother, who was pregnant with me. He truly loved that dog. I carried a vase filled with flowers with me into the forest and took a left when I should have gone right. I was lost for one full day, wandering through the forest, crying and panicked. I foolishly skipped breakfast that day, so I was desperate at this point. I tried to, but I couldn't recognize any plants to eat, so I tried eating some random plant I found in the woods, but I upchucked all of it. I was humiliated when I stumbled back to my house. I'll never forget my father running up, worried. I don't know why everyone has a sob story. Everybody's going through some trauma, bro.
Self-voicing enabled. Self-voicing disabled.
What is that self-voicing thing? Hold on. Let me try it. I don't know. I just pressed V and it just did some shit. Hold on.
Self-voicing enabled. Anatoly. And.
Oh, never mind.
Self-voicing disabled.
It's an accessibility thing. We don't need it. And I was still holding the vase with flowers in it. I don't even know. I just pressed V and that thing popped up. I had no clue it existed. My entire shirt stained with puke. After that experience, I studied obsessively my mother's collection of foraging books, so I would never starve in the wilderness again. Thank you for absolutely everything. You nod, calling everyone together for a meeting. Anatoly looks pale. Alright. Well, that's it, basically. Maybe we can get him back, though. Did you want to say anything to Anatoly? You say nothing. Goodbye, Anatoly. Goodbye, everyone. Good luck, little guy. Okay, great, cool. Is there anything else we gotta look at? Oh, wait. I wanted to actually see what happens if you say no. Your mind will be flayed if you let them. You sure about that decision? Huh? I don't know. Unbelievable. Allowing bad dreams to haunt you every night. I suspect you'll go mad in a few more years. Run, hell wretch. Are you gonna jump scare me or what? Do it. I dare you. Motherfucker. You won't. What? Pacifist? You aren't afraid of them anymore? Good morning. What are you doing? Where's Potato? We locked him in the room. He was bragging about convincing you to leave the cabin. Isn't that terrible? You shrug. Being near others would only lead to more meals. You ask why Cabbage cares so much. Because innocent lives get caught in your meddling. I don't know what that says. Oh, I don't know those names. Those are people, not. I'm sorry, I lost my temper. Let's try something different than what Potato suggested. Let's try embracing the neighbors. See if that yields different results, okay? Thank you. Trumpets, move out. Girl. Finally, peace and quiet. Damn! You close your eyes, waiting in an ocean of nightmares. Oh. Welcome to nightmare mode. Okay. What if I say no, and then I say no, let me fight back. Perfect. Let us give them no quarter. Oh, it's just... Okay. Well, that's lame. Alright. Well, that's it for playing the game, actually. I don't think I really care too much about everything else. I mainly just care about what's happened, like, within, like, the past hour. If there's other shit I'll explore, it will be in my edited version of this gameplay on YouTube. Yay! Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. But we still got more to do. We have to go over what game we're going to play next. It was signed by that man. Why isn't my game closing? Hello? My monitor is not working. No, it's on. Hello? Guys, why is my monitor broken? Let me show you. So this monitor has the stream manager on it and stuff, so I can see shit. This monitor just went black once I closed out the game. What did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this? And I need to find a way to open up applications on the monitor that I want it to open on. Because now this monitor is just not doing anything. Why does this keep happening to me? Bro, they hate me, bro. Hold on. Let me try doing something. Hopefully it doesn't end my stream. Okay, it's back. Yes! Okay. No, because this monitor is really glitchy, and I have no clue why it's doing the things it does. All right. Yay, let's hear a list. So I have some options for you guys. We can, fuck, now it looks weird, though. We can do, yeah, we finished this. We can either do, I don't know. I still need to finish this. But when I finish that, then I'll fully be off, like... No, because I still got Undertale. I might just abandon my brother, bro, for that Undertale playthrough. I might. I just might. What you gonna do about it? So other than... yeah. Other than this... and this, and that. Other than all the highlighted ones. And, oh, and then other than Resident Evil. So, ignore Resident Evil. I don't, oh shit. Ignore these. So now we don't really got much choices. Oh, fuck. Ads? Great. What is with the ads? What is with the ads? Freddy, this is why you should subscribe. Subscribe so this doesn't happen to you. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Fuck, I messed it up. Okay. Well, there's an ad running, so. Just pick. Alright. I don't know. Don't look at the don't look at the highlighted ones. So we got these two games. You want to do Baldi's Basics? We got Spookies. Oh, why are these all horror games, bro? Why do I make myself play these? I'm thinking Baldi's, I guess, would be the best choice. Spookies or Baldi's? But then if I play Baldi's, should I try finishing the plus version like I originally started? Wait, I don't think I can refund it, actually. I was thinking maybe I can refund it because, I don't know, I'm just not having fun with it, but I think I already played over 2 hours of it. And then the remastered, the classic remastered. Because I remember the classic looking like much more fun to play. What about free play games? Oh, yeah. We got some games that don't really have a story to them. Or like a linear path to finishing them. You can play them whenever you want. So we got Roblox. And then a Roblox I play quite often. But recently, no, not really often at all. But I used to play really often. We got Pixel Gun, Osu, Muse Dash. I might be done with my Muse Dash phase. It's not going to come back until a year later. Because that's tradition. Minecraft. Yes, we do have Minecraft. We do Minecraft, Lethal Company. But I don't got anybody to play with. And then Odelphi, which is also a rhythm game. Oh my god, hi best friends. How are you doing, Kanito Pet? Oh my god, guys, Kanito Pet is in here. Oh, of course the chat isn't popping up. God, chat's gotta pop up. Chat has to see this. Oh shit. Oh, it's fine. What did he say? I never figured out how to set up a server. Yeah, I have to somehow find a way to get Bedrock version. I'm doing fantastic now that I'm talking to you. Thank fuck. Because my day would have been ruined if I had found out you were having a horrible day. I think you have to play for it. You have to play for it? So yeah, I guess we can do Minecraft. Or Baldi's. Which I'm thinking it might just have to be this one. I might just abandon this one. Oh shit, you guys can't see it. Oh fuck. I might just abandon Plus until it gets better or fully updated. Because I'm just not digging it. Okay, yeah, you're orange. I'll highlight those. Trying to find a ways to organize it. We could do Baldi's, and then we could also do Minecraft. Alright, we'll do Minecraft. I just wish I could play with you guys. Wait, Bumblebee FB fan, would you want to play with me? It depends on what version you have, though. Because I don't know how to get Bedrock version yet. Yeah. So we got Minecraft, we got Baldi's. We could do one of those at some point. But I still need to finish Resident Evil 0. I think my plan for today, I'm either going to start editing a video, or I'm going to stream again today, and it's going to have to be Resident Evil 0, because I just have not made any progress on it. I'm like almost halfway through the game. Alright, our next stream could be Minecraft then. I have Java, but I'm too lazy to start up my computer. Aww. Dang it. But then Minecraft. What would I do on Minecraft? I have to try beating the game again. And then I wanted to try beating it on hardcore. But I still don't have the skill for that. So I'd have to, like, progress. I'd have to get better at it. And then I want to play horror mods, but I don't know how to do that. Yeah, I guess we could do all these. I don't know. Unless you guys got other ideas on what I could do. I could try building stuff in Minecraft. I don't know. And then I don't know how often the Minecraft streams are going to be. Because it is a free play game. Gotta try going at it as much as possible. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. We could do Minecraft and then Baldi's at some point. Yeah, that's my plan. Alright, now we gotta watch Game Theory! Yay! You might as well go to bed, Bubble fan. Fuck. You didn't see that. Build an epic house in Minecraft. I'm not good at building, but yeah, I'll do that. Because it's lit. Alright. Game Theory videos. Let me scroll up to chat. Alright. Open that shit up!
Hello again.
Oh! What the hell, bro? That's out of pocket, bitch. I've said it a million times, but joke's on you, I am in bed. And put that phone away and go to sleep. That's crazy.
It's been so long. Did you miss me? Because I definitely missed you. I've been watching you, you know.
Damn! Are you serious? How many videos did they make? Oh, wait. No, those are the live streams. Okay. Okay, there's 3 videos on it. Okay. I was kind of scared.
Do things.
You got me scared
Don't be
for a
shy.
second.
It's okay. I'm here for you.
Monica, I don't give a fuck.
It's so great we get to spend this time together, just you.
Perfect. Now. How did I do? Was it perfect? Now it really can be just us. And look, dinner's all ready.
Oh!
Hello Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that's part of a balanced YouTube diet. You've got your math, science, history, lore, and cannibalism. That's right, friends, it's the return of Cannibalism Crossover Weekend. Because nothing says brand-safe online content quite like discussing proper nutrition when trapped in a situation where the only food source is human flesh. Last year around this time, we did a 3-way collab with the channels where each one talked about cannibalism in some unique way. And this year, we're bringing it back. Over on Food Theory, we're learning about what clothes you can safely eat before you have to resort to nibbling and eat. And over on Film Theory, well, okay, it's just a 2-way crossover between Game Theory and Food Theory. The timing of the cannibalism episode didn't work out over on Film Theory, and I really wanted to talk about the back rooms, okay? I just couldn't resist that sweet, sweet lore. Anyway, that Food Theory about eating clothes was largely inspired by the game we're talking about today, Cooking Companions, a visual novel-style game produced by Dear Dream Studios, a team that saw Doki Doki Literature Club and said, hold my carving knife. I don't know what it is about these games that keeps drawing me in. I mean, maybe it's the fun characters, or the really cute anime art style, or the oh, yep, that one. It's definitely the scary hidden lore. And boy, does Cooking Companions have lore intrigue for days. On the surface, it appears to be a story of 5 characters trapped in a remote cabin with no supplies, eventually forced to turn on each other in order to survive. Now, that alone would be pretty darn bleak, but bit by bit, we start seeing hints to an even darker backstory. Secret notes in the bathroom, locked doors in the basement, bones under the floorboards, nightmares that suggest the sins of our past, and hints that this same scenario is played out thousands of times before. So who are we really? What horrors have happened inside this cabin? And seriously, why are we being stalked by a team of talking vegetables? I mentioned that one, right? The talking vegetables?
Oh, yeah.
No? Yeah, that's a thing too. So I hope you're hungry, because I've got some freshly carved lore all ready to serve up. First, since this game has been criminally underplayed on YouTube, let me catch you up. Like most visual novels,
you don't gotta catch me up.
Unseen protagonist.
How do you skip
and
that?
You start the game in a cabin with your 4 friends. Innocent Mariah, Eager, Anatole. We lose people from the cabin. First Anatoly, and then Gregor, leaving us alone with just Karen. Just Karen.
No.
Karen.
Enough. I already said that.
Takes a liking
That's
to the
my
whole
line.
eating human flesh thing. Fun fact, this is actually something that real-world scientists have observed in cannibals. It's not something chemically in the meat, but it's a high. The euphoria that they get from doing something that they know is wrong on a deeply human level that becomes addictive. Kind of like Pringles. Once you pop, the cannibalism don't stop. As the days drag on, the cabin becomes haunted
I'd
by
rather
the meals
eat
of our past.
human meat
All
than
the while,
Pringles.
Karen starts looking a bit too eager and a bit too hungry. So we end up locking her in the basement. Eventually, we're like, she's gotta be dead, right? And we go down into the basement, but obviously she's not. Classic girl tries to kill boy, boy pulls an Uno reverse card, steals girl's knife, and plunges it into her chest. The end. Or so I thought. I actually finished my playthrough on GT Live before getting to the final twist because I am a big brain gamer.
All right, friends. Well, there you have it.
I've been watching Marvel movies
Why would he
for
do
years.
that?
There's always a post-credit scene. What was I thinking? Anyway, fortunately, I did go back and clean up some of the endings, and it's at this point that we find out how our characters actually wound up in the cabin.
Yeah, get on with it.
It turns out that you were never part of the group. This is your cabin. All the others just stumbled across you when they got lost. The group explains their situation, but then you, quote, ask the questions you've asked thousands of times. Did you come on your own free will, or were you sent? When they say that they come on their own free will, but were also technically sent, we see that they, quote, answered incorrectly. Wait, sorry, what? We've asked this question before? Is this some sort of a time loop? Or,
It's a riddle?
in purgatory and keep having to relive this situation in order to, you know, find a solution where we don't end up eating our friends? What is going on here? Oh, and again, there are vegetables called the chompettes that talk to you when no one else is around. Probably shouldn't overlook that little detail. There's also a nightmare mode and a new game plus, and a mode that drops you straight into Cuphead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What? What? What world are we living in here?
Okay, there's clearly a lot to unpack inside of this thing, but it really boils down to 2 main mysteries. The first is what's actually going on inside the cabin. What's up with the mysterious notes, the nightmares, who are we, and what does the whole ending sequence about being sent versus free will mean? The second main mystery has to do with the chompettes, those little anthropomorphized food friends that I keep bringing up but also avoiding, because again, there's a lot there to discuss. You think that they're just figments of your cannibalism-addled imagination, information, but they are so much more. So let's start
Then
with the basics,
explain
shall
it.
we? Who these people are and what they're doing here. When the food starts to run out, Mariah says this, quote,
Bread and jam isn't much of a meal, but it's more than we had when we left Ukraine.
now, obviously, that's just a one-off comment, but if you max out your relationship with Mariah, she confesses that the situation in the cabin isn't nearly as bad as what they left in the Ukraine. Given at this point you've basically run out of food with no chance of finding more, that is
What?
quite the statement. She continues, quote,
Our village went mad from starvation after the rationing got extreme. Parents sending their children to orphanages instead of letting them starve at home. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Eventually, we decided we needed to escape, so we stole supplies until we had enough for the journey. To keep our spirits up, Gregor described it as a vacation.
And they end up
We don't
here?
usually
That's
face
crazy.
death during a vacation, though.
It also gets brought up by Karen again in the final battle, saying repeatedly that she should have never left Ukraine. And it's at this point that I'd like to mention the giant elephant in the room. While yes, I'm making jokes about cannibalism in this game, none of it is to make light of the situation that's currently happening over in the Ukraine right now, or honestly, Ukraine in the past. Sadly, this is a part of the world that's had to deal with a lot of horrific and tragic events, some of which we're actually about to discuss as part of the context for this game.
Yeah.
It is pure coincidence that Cooking Companions came out, and only months later the country is now suddenly embroiled in war. This is not meant to make light of anything happening there. I'm making this video to talk about a cool new game with very interesting lore made by a team of passionate creators who made something that I just want more people to know about. And thanks to their game, I became more aware of the folklore and history coming from that part of the world. And as a result, I've grown a greater sense of appreciation for the people that are currently being affected by the terrible violent actions that are happening. In making this video and sharing it with you, I'm hopeful that you're able to take away some of that too. Our hearts are with everyone who's been affected, all the families that have been displaced or torn apart. So if anything in this video inspires you to help the people in that region of the world, we're linking to relevant charities down in the description that are helping the refugees right now. Back to the game though,
When
it's
was this
also worth
made?
noting that you
Because wasn't, yeah, I guess in 2022 was when, because, like, this, like, Russia against Ukraine has always been happening, but, like, for a while. But, like, just in 2022, it started hitting, like, mainstream media, and, like, everybody all of a sudden started talking about it. Like, man, it took everybody long enough. So, yeah, it is 2022, yeah. I mean, yeah, what a coincidence. Like, they have, like, characters from Ukraine, and then all of a sudden, like, the uprising and, like, the freaking conflict with them, all of a sudden comes out, like, months after. Some people in my school need to hear this, right? That's what I'm saying.
Ukraine isn't the only real world.
Like, there's not very much education on, like what's been happening in Ukraine, like, in schools. Like, nobody talks about it, especially in world history. Like, I feel like when I took world history class in high school, they never, like, talked about a lot of the shit going on outside, like, the wars and stuff. Like, they never talked about it. It was so confusing. But I've had to find out about what was going on in Ukraine through like a YouTube video, like an awareness video. Like, that's crazy. Also, like, Israel versus Palestine. Like, how do they not teach this shit in school? Like, once, like, they teach about the Holocaust, like, every timeline after that, it's mainly focused around the U.S. and my schools, at least. I'm like, really? Like, they can't just talk about the other shit going on in the world? It's too political. Bitch, people are dying, right? Free Ukraine, free Palestine, motherfuckers. Like, why is it so hard for schools to teach that?
Location mentioned. Like any good indie horror title, there are hidden clues scattered throughout which come in the form of handwritten notes that you can only have access to by exploring the right rooms on the right days and by clicking certain interact options multiple times. It is not easy to find this stuff, but when you do find them, two mention Zakopane, a little Polish town about 186 miles or 300 kilometers.
Yeah, they travel all the way from the Ukraine to Poland. I don't know, guys, I'm really bad at geography. I don't know how far that is. And Zakopane's like an actual city. Sometimes video games use fictional cities. I guess it's cool that they use a real city.
From the Ukrainian border. We also get more
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
hints thanks to the appetizer edition of the game, a standalone Cooking Companions experience released a few months prior to the main title. In it, we get quizzed by the Chompettes on general trivia, all with hints of that sweet, sweet lore. One of the questions, for instance, asks us where we are, and the correct answer turns out to be the Tatras Mountains, a forested mountain range that sits between Poland and Slovakia. And wouldn't you know it, but just north of the Tatras Mountains is none other than the little
They
town
did
of
mention that.
Zakopane.
I remember that.
Combine that with Mariah's
Tatras
comments about
Mountains?
needing to escape from Ukraine, and it seems very clear that Mariah, Gregor, Anatoly, and Karen are Ukrainian refugees. But refugees of what? If you follow Anatoly's romance line instead of Mariah's, you end up learning that his dog died when he was 6.
Yeah, we read
This dog
that.
apparently meant a lot to his father as it helped him find food during, quote, the war. Obviously, there are a lot of wars, so which one could he possibly be talking about? Well, it appears to be World War I. You see, we're told in the extras menu that
Damn.
Anatoly is 25, with World War I being
They
between
say their
1914 and
ages? Bro, I wish I've seen that.
18, that would mean the game likely takes place between 1933 and 1937. And all of this lines up with the very real, very tragic event in the history of Ukraine known as Holodomor. Holodomor is a famine that took place in Soviet Ukraine between 1932 and 1933. Its name is a term derived from the Ukrainian words for hunger, holod, and extermination, mor. And it was just as brutal as Mariah describes. To grossly oversimplify the events here, dictator Joseph Stalin aggressively seized control of the farmland and personal property of peasants in order for it to be controlled by the communist Soviet government. This collectivization movement failed due to government disorganization, which destroyed rural economies and led to massive food shortages across the country. When peasants started to rebel against these policies in Ukraine, especially in provinces that had previously fought against the Red Army during the Russian Civil War, Stalin decided it was time to crack down and assert control by creating blacklists of towns that wouldn't receive the government-controlled food. Police were also homes anything that was edible. Crops, personal, 5 million people died of hunger result from Great Famine. At least 3 million, and much like our character, the food situation got so bad that people had to resort to cannibalism in order to survive. A doctor wrote in 1933 that she had not yet become a cannibal, but was, quote, not sure that I shall not be one by the time my letter reaches you. The good people died first. Those who refused to steal or to prostitute themselves died. Those who gave food to others died. Those who refused to eat corpses died. Those who refused to kill their fellow man died. Parents who resisted cannibalism died before their children did, end quote. So it seems like our 4 cabin friends are refugees running away from the Holodomor horrors that are happening over in the Soviet states. But that then leaves the question of, who are we? Well, let's just look at what we do know about our character. We're a cannibal that lives in some cabin in the forested mountains of Poland and Slovakia. We also know that we're hideous to look at, if our 4 companions' reaction to us when we first arrive is anything to go by during that twist ending.
We're the oily, creepy man.
Really random, really specific question about free will versus being sent that apparently has itself a right and wrong answer. So I started there with that very specific question and immediately got back information on a supernatural being called the Baba Yaga. A character from Slavic folklore, so we're in the right part of the world, who lives in a remote cabin, check again, often described as an old hag with a deformed appearance. Again, just like our hideous appearance in the game. She's also known to cannibalize the visitors to her home. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a bingo. And here's the kicker. Baba Yaga is known for asking that specific free will versus scent question. Apparently the correct answer for that is, I am here 75% of my own free will, 65% by compulsion, which, if you do the math, totals up to 140%, so I don't know, maybe she needs some math classes in addition to the chomp bets
What
teaching
the
her cooking
fuck?
classes. In fact, the more you look at the game, the more we find connecting us back to Baba Yaga. Sometimes her cabin stands on chicken legs, and wouldn't you know it, but we can find a chicken bone in the bedroom underneath the floorboards as a little Easter egg back to that original story. Not only that, but Karen is actually designed to look very similar to another character from Slavic folklore, Vasilisa the Beautiful, a girl that finds Baba Yaga in the woods during her own story. Even our nightmares between days of the game point to stories that involve the Baba Yaga. The second dream we get about being shoved into an oven closely follows the Russian folktale Ivanushka, where a boy refuses to be cooked in Baba Yaga's oven and instead tricks her into showing him how, trapping her in the oven and cooking her alive. So there you have it. We are the Baba Yaga, a cannibal that feasts on those that are lost in the woods. And our latest victims are an unlucky group of refugees running away from a famine.
Is the Baba Yaga supposed to be like a female specifically, or is it general? Because if it's supposed to be a female, I thought our character was like a man, because the Cabbage Patch Kids, the fucking Chompettes, like described the psychopath who's been killing everyone and that eventually kills them as a creepy, oily man.
in their home country. Except it's still not quite the whole story. In nightmare mode of cooking companions, we get this line: you lost more of your humanity. They actually use it multiple times, but if we just lost some of our humanity, that then implies that we had humanity to start off with, right? We're not just some evil supernatural force, we're a human possessed by a supernatural force. And the game seems to back this up. After Mariah leaves the cabin, we have a dream about desecrating a corpse. Then we wake up in a different room than when we fell asleep, having some sort of mystery meat. This happens again when Anatoly leaves the cabin. We dream about putting his glasses aside and cutting him up. Suddenly, we wake up with more meat. The game tells you explicitly on a few occasions that you've been sleepwalking, which the Chompette Potato confirms in more detail. Quote,
in the first week with the red-haired woman and the others, where did you sleep? If I can be honest, it was truly horrific to witness. You would routinely collapse in the middle of the hallway, sleepwalking into walls, or worse, going down into the basement.
This proves that our non-folklore dreams, the ones where we chop people up, were not only real, but happening while we were asleep. We weren't fully in control of our actions, and something is keeping us alive beyond what's normal. The Chompettes do seem to believe that if you're killed, Karen will take over the cabin, implying that the spirit of Baba Yaga can be passed from person to person in order to protect the cabin and the spirits that reside in it. So that just leaves us with one final question. How did we end up with the power of Baba Yaga? If we were potentially going to pass it on to Karen if we lost the final battle, then wouldn't it make sense for us to have gained it from someone before us? Well, fear not, dear theorists, because I'm pretty confident that I know how we got here, and it has everything to do with the most iconic characters from the franchise. Characters that you'll notice
then the words would be gendered as female. Oh. So, like, but, you know, it would make more sense if, you know, he's going with the theory that you're possessed by Baba Yaga and you're not Baba Yaga yourself. Like, yeah, that makes more sense, because then you could, like, be your boy or girl or whatever and get possessed and still do the same things as Baba Yaga.
I still really haven't mentioned all that much today. I'm talking, of course, about the Chompettes. More specifically, I think Potato is the key putting this whole thing together. He feels like the odd one of the group, not wanting to participate in the other Chompettes games. He knows a lot about the caloric needs of the human body, and he gives off some strong murder vibes. Let's just call it a hunch, or maybe the fact that he gives us a secret recipe explicitly called slaughter stew. Could he have been the previous Baba Yaga? The answer to that question is gonna have to wait until part 2. I know, it's frustrating, but the Chompettes come with a lot of mysteries that merit a full episode unto themselves.
Is that the second one? We're already on it.
All the rest, they're still afraid to enter this room, too traumatized to come to grips with it. Why do you think Cabbage wanted you to play so many games with her? She wanted you to remember what happened here, and now you're talking to a potato, and obviously, you're not remembering anything. Goodbye. For now.
And you see, that's what happens when you talk to a potato instead of me. Here, you may not remember, but I certainly do, so let me fill in those blanks. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that would never think of eating its friends, because it doesn't have any. But hey, you can become a friend of the channel by cannibalism. A lot of cannibalism.
Okay.
These guys are all over the artwork for this game, and you can see why. The kawaii little edibles lighten up what would otherwise be a completely grim horror story of starvation inside of a stranded cabin. In total, we have ourselves 5 key members of the Chompettes. Cabbage, leader of the group who likes to organize games for the others to play. Onion, the comedian.
Yeah, no, like, Chompettes, yeah, they're cute, but they also make everything so much more cryptic. Like, what the fuck? You make everything so much more complicated, add even more backstory. I don't know what the hell's happening.
Oh, not sure calling us Stinky over and over again is actually that funny. Bread, the lover of puns, the vaguely threatening raspberry, and the grumpy, non-participatory potato. There's also frequent references to a missing 6th Chompette, Cornbread, but he's not around anymore. Throughout the game, these guys pop in to make jokes, unlock new recipes, and generally comment on your declining mental stability. So, are they real, or are they just figments of your imagination? Even the player character asks this question the first time we encounter them in the game, and the answer is unclear at best. No one else seems to see them, and when we begin to pass out towards the end of the game, the characters seem to phase in and out of existence. Feels pretty obvious that we're just going mad, right? Then again, they can also keep drawers shut, slam doors, and have even made mouse holes to travel unseen throughout the cabin. Plus, we're told Potato blocks those same mouse holes with rocks in New Game Plus, so they're not only able to move rocks, but also apparently can't pass through them. Well,
Okay. I'm gonna get some food downstairs, but I will be watching through my phone. Do not worry about it.
The answer to what they really are seems to come at the end of that New Game Plus. After killing an enraged Karen down in the basement, we actually get a little cutscene that shows her lying on the ground, eyes widening as she dies, only for it to then cut to the Chompettes welcoming in a new vegetable Turnip to the group. Though this new Chompette is labeled as a he, the editing makes it very clear that it's meant to be Karen. But then why would she, of all the people, become a Chompette as opposed to everyone else that we've seen die throughout the game? Mariah, Gregor, and Anatoly all die in the game, but they only haunt the cabin as spirits. They don't form some new food group meant to chase us around, so what's going on here? Well, several times throughout the game, both the spirits of our dead companions and the Chompettes make mention that, quote, those who die in the cabin are bound by different rules.
The rules are different for people that die in the cabin. The lucky ones are dead when cooked.
The important word here is in the cabin. Earlier in the game, Mariah and Anatoly both leave the cabin in search of food. These moments are emphasized by a little jingle and the explicit words, character has left the cabin. Pretty hard to deny what's going on in those moments. As for Gregor, our third companion, well, yes, he does die inside the cabin, it isn't by our hand. He's been cut to pieces by Karen. Mariah, Gregor, and Anatoly are haunting the cabin because of our guilt, but Karen died inside the cabin's basement from stab wounds we inflict, which is why she then becomes a Chompette. This in turn suggests that all the other Chompettes must function the same way. Previous victims of the Baba Yaga also murdered within the confines of the cabin. During the hide and seek section of the story, we find Onion in the bedroom and he tells us this.
I'm sorry to hear about Mariah, Anatoly, and Gregor, but yikes, that's 3 people gone in less than a month. Not as bad as 5 people in one night though, right?
5 deaths, 5 Chompettes. Pieces seem like they're falling into place. We even get this line from Onion during the fight with Karen in the basement.
Just finish this in one swift motion, like with Potato.
We killed Potato in one move, something that Potato confirms during his ending.
Looting it from my corpse and hiding it in a drawer. Murder and theft in one day.
Wait, what? His knife? So far we've seen Cabbage refer to it as our knife, and we only ever asked Karen to give us back our knife, but it was originally Potato's? This is where things really start to get interesting. I mentioned last time how Potato really is the oddball of the group. While all the rest are willing to play along with Cabbage's games, Potato regularly stays silent, or else kills the moment with an offhanded comment, bringing everyone crashing back down to reality. In one of the game's many endings, he says that you should both leave the cabin to feast on all the people of local towns together. He also is the one that gives us the slaughter stew recipe, the only outright cannibalistic recipe in the game. On top of all of it, during one of his survival lessons is an in-depth analysis of the Harris-Benedict equation, which calculates how people starve to death. You know, a totally normal, not serial killer-y thing to do at all. And if none of that was explicit enough, Potato even says,
I wouldn't miss a killing for the world.
This was his cabin. Potato was the Baba Yaga before us. Remember those notes that I've been mentioning from around the cabin? The ones that you can only get on certain days in certain places after multiple clicks? Well, the last note we get tells us this.
I've not been keeping up because my mom kept talking to me. So what I'm seeing is that Karen was special because she got turned into a Chompette instead of just dying and being eaten. But how is that possible? Because she was killed in the cabin? I don't get it. And then and then Potato's apparently the past Baba Yaga, but how? Like, what makes you so special? I don't know.
June 26, 1862. Another body of a child was discovered within the city of Zakopane, with the remains stuffed into a barrel full of potatoes. This marks the 4th victim by the butcher of Zakopane in less than a month.
Potatoes, you say?
Oh.
That's not the only connection to our good friend Potato either. During the Chompette cooking courses, another post-game mode made available after you get your first ending, while the others are reminiscing about school, Potato tells us that he dropped out of grade school so he could work at the butcher, to which Bread replies,
explains everything so far.
Potato was the butcher of Zakopane.
Oh.
As Onion says,
I wouldn't call it a change of heart, because it never really had one, Potato.
and we know we can't be the butcher. Based on another of the hidden notes inside of the game, we know the butcher was at one point summoned to court. But as Potato himself says,
It's a shame you never went to trial for anything.
but then who are we? How did we get involved in all this? Well, we were part of the original group of kids that become the Chompettes. During the final fight, Bread asks us a very interesting question during our fight with Karen.
Why did we come here again? So that explains Potato.
Notice the use of the word we. We were a part of the group with Bread at some point. Potato, meanwhile, was an outsider. In the appetizer preview edition of this game, you and Potato have a heart-to-heart, and he outright tells us this.
I cornered the 4 in this basement room, and all of
What?
us ended up dead. Cabbage, onion, raspberry, bread. They're still afraid to enter this room, too traumatized to come to grips with it.
Potato, as the butcher, was about to kill everyone. And you see, that's when you step in. In the main game, we have an opportunity to tell Karen about the Chompettes. And when we do, this is her response.
A potato is killing people? They asked you to save them? What the heck does that even mean?
In short, we killed the butcher of Zakopane with his own knife as he was killing our friends.
Oh.
And in so doing, we got possessed and became the Baba Yaga. But how? For some reason, we weren't gathered into the basement like the others. We had the chance to kill the butcher when all the rest of our friends were helpless. So what made us so different? Well, I suspect that the butcher was training us to become like him. Throughout the game, we act as Karen's mentor, introducing her to the world of killing and cannibalism. We show her books about chopping people up, and we get lines like, she's not ready yet. She is meant to become our cooking companion, at least until she gets a little bit too enthusiastic and turns on us. And I suspect that the butcher was training us up in a similar way. In our various conversations with Potato, there seems to be some level of friendship between our character and the killer. He asks us to go into the basement and
That's
Put
weird.
an end to this. Not for the
It makes
Chompettes,
sense though.
for
It's just
me.
We
weird.
also get hints throughout New Game Plus.
It's different than what I thought.
Karen and Potato would have made great partners in another life. Out of all of the kids that he planned to kill, we were singled out as special. We were meant to be his pupil. As you might imagine, being a one-man cannibal is a lonely life. Getting to share that with someone else, though, priceless. But when our friends started getting killed, we had to act and slaughter the man who had taken us under his wing. Except what
But how do we
didn't
know them?
is that would force us to go on and continue the Baba Yaga's legacy moving forward. So there you have it, the deep lore of cooking companions. Except there's one final layer to the story, one final chompette that we need to discuss: cornbread. As I mentioned before, cornbread is the missing 6th chompette, one that we hear mentioned a lot, but never really.
Like, I'm so confused. I don't care about cornbread. We all know everything about cornbread, but it still technically doesn't explain how we know the Chompettes, who became the Chompettes before. Like, how do we know them? And then how did we, like, I don't fucking know, bro.
See until the game's final, most secret ending. We know from in-game clues that Cornbread's real name was Raziel and that they were related to Onion. Being a Chompette, we also know that presumably they were killed in the cabin and that we consumed their body. But there's something that makes Cornbread different. Unlike...
Why am I eating this shit up? Oh my god. What the fuck even is this shit? It's like some breaded steak. I don't know why I like it. I mean, if you put red sauce and onions on anything, I'll eat it.
all the other Chompettes, we've let Cornbread move on. During the endgame of New Game Plus, Cabbage asks us if we'll let the Chompettes go, and we say no.
Will you let us go? Someday, maybe.
And yet, for some reason, we've allowed Cornbread to pass on. Why? Well, we know at some point that we've actually stopped killing. During the post-game, Potato asks us this.
How many generations died brutally at your hands before you gave up? Was it your arthritis that stopped you? Or did you eventually feel remorse?
I think it was the latter.
I agree.
I think that we felt remorse, and it was Cornbread that did it to us. Now, to be honest, based on this message that I found on Discord, I'm not even sure the creators of the game have fully mapped this out, but based on everything that I've seen inside the game and everything that we covered so far, here's what I think happened. After the night where our friends die and we kill the butcher, we become possessed by the Baba Yaga. Some time passes. We're still in the cabin, alone and hungry. But then, a new child stumbles in. Someone we know. It's Onion's relative, Raziel, looking for his lost family member. We bring them in and they stay for a while, telling us countless puns, just generally being fun and bringing joy to our otherwise lonely life. Raziel gives us hope, shows us that there's no need for us to kill, that we can become normal again, but eventually the hunger sets in. It can't be quelled. It can't be stopped. We resist it, but at some point we succumb to the Baba Yaga's need. We kill Raziel in a moment of weakness. He wasn't meant to be there. He wasn't meant to die. We just couldn't help ourselves. Out of regret and out of self-loathing, we eat him. We eat every last piece of him. And then we let him go because he was innocent, because he reminds us of our weakness, because we can't bear to keep him a prisoner. We let him move on, and we keep all the other Chompettes here with us, too afraid to be left alone. We keep the rest of the Chompettes here because they don't don't come
Just
with
keep
the
2.
extra burden of guilt. And so there you have. Oh, the developer just tagged us in a tweet. Wonder what this is about.
Uh-oh.
A black image? You know what that means. Crank
Uh-oh.
up the exposure, boys. A shadowy figure holding a knife with 4 people. Cabbage, raspberry, onion,
He
bread,
didn't even know about this yet. Okay. This is before that expansion shit.
the shadow of potato. Beautiful. Chef's kiss. Now all we need is that cornbread origin story and we're all good. And with that, my friends,
All right.
we put a wrap
Well, we're gonna
on the
watch that
delicious-
now.
I'm back. I've been looking for you. It's been about 4 months since your last theory? Are you losing track of time again? How have things been? Why would you ask me that? You know exactly what happened. You know exactly what happened. Let me remind you.
Great.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory! Now with 50% less cannibalism, but the same dead kid flavor you've come to love. And
Wow.
welcome back to Cooking Companions, everyone's favorite visual novel about eating your camping buddies, then turning them into kawaii foodstuffs. In case you missed our previous theories on the game, the original Cooking Companions told the story of an unnamed protagonist living out
This
in
is
the woods
kinda
and the
gross.
4 hikers that
This
unfortunately
thing
join you in
that
search
I'm
of
eating?
shelter. Shortly into their stay, the food runs out.
Don't give
and
us a
you, as the
recap.
chef, are forced to find some
Whoa.
bread, the cute but threatening raspberry, and Potato, just Potato, a character who immediately stands out from the group as the tuber who refuses to play along and just insists on getting his knife back. Clearly, one of these things is not like the others. Well, all the
Come on.
but
Get to
now,
it.
everything's different. Enter the game's new DLC, Chompette Origins, a prequel story to the events of the original game. You know what that means? It's suddenly my hour of reckoning. One of the few times on this channel that we either get to confirm or deny a past theory, which means that it's time to see just how wrong we were. So,
Uh-oh.
will I be getting the sweet taste of victory, or just
mean,
a
they
big
said they were
ol'
looking for
slice of
ideas.
humble pie? It's time to explore that familiar old cabin one final time to see what mysteries Dear Dream Studios has cooked up. The prequel story starts with 3 children standing in front of our familiar cabin in the woods. There's Selena, Oleg, and Bolek. If it wasn't clear from the first letters of their names or the color of their outfits, Dear Dream Studios was also kind enough to color their names to be the same as our Chompette pals. Selena is cabbage, Oleg is onion, and Bolek is bread. I don't know if you can tell it, but they really wanted to make sure we knew who was who. This time, we're not playing the role of the killer or Baba Yaga or anything like that, but rather we're the 4th child, Rhina, the child who would go on to become Raspberry. We're told that we're running away from someone, escaping into this empty cabin to hide. Eventually, the man that we're running from finds his way into the cabin. The 4 hide down in the basement, but it's too late. A knife-wielding killer stands before us, ready to make the final blow, but suddenly, the kids' faces turn to horror as slashing sounds are heard and the killer's eyes close. The last thing that we see are children running for their lives, except for Rhina, who's surprisingly calm about the entire situation. So, what's it all mean? How did the
what
details
the
of
hell's
this
wrong with you,
DLC
Rhina?
actually fit inside of our original set of theories? Well, in true theory fashion, we got a lot of stuff right, and also a couple things wrong. First and most importantly, this is definitely the Baba Yaga's cabin. As you search the premises, Bolek mentions finding a fence that's covered in bones, which is one common trait of the Baba Yaga's cabin in Slavic folklore. We also get an extra dream in New Game Plus that tells us the story of us dying in a river of fire controlled by a man with a handkerchief. This seemingly random story is another famous tale coming out of
I
the
didn't
Baba
read that
Yaga
one.
canon called The Death of Koshai
Dang
the
it.
Deathless. In fact, I suspect that we might even be able to catch a glimpse of the Baba Yaga in the DLC, but it is buried real well. When the kids first descend into the basement of the cabin, we
fries
discover
suck.
a literal murder chamber hidden inside the darkness. But you know what we do when there's a
They're
dark
so
scene?
unsalty.
You whip it out. And by it, I mean Photoshop. Cranking up the exposure gives you
What do you
this.
mean,
Not only a clear scene of the various cages and hostage pit in the middle of the room, like something ripped straight out of Silence of the Lambs, but in a when you see it, you'll poop bricks moment. If you look back here, yep, that is a human face staring right back at you, watching the kids and their killer from the shadows, waiting for the moment to strike them all down. That, I suspect, is the Baba
Strike 'em
Yaga,
down.
notably missing its left eye, which is a reference to yet another Baba Yaga story where their left eye is shot out during a battle. Could it potentially be the spirit of a past victim? Sure, weird faces appear from the shadows when you least expect them all the time in this game, but the missing eye
bad.
and the placement right
Sorry.
next to where everyone's about to get slaughtered, my money is on the Yaga. That said, while we basically nailed it on that half of the story, we were a bit off when it came to Potato. Potato. Turns out, he doesn't live in this cabin like we first suspected. He's also not possessed by the Baba Yaga. He just wishes he were. After our 4 friends and the Butcher wind up dead at the end of the DLC's first playthrough, we think to ourselves that, quote, keeping these intruders around might be entertaining for now. Potato is considered to be a part of that group. One in a group of intruders sticking their noses into a place where they're not welcome, the cabin. He was not, nor was he ever the Baba Yaga. All my hypothesizing about the Baba Yaga changing bodies? Yep, not a real thing. The Baba Yaga is just a separate, real character in this universe. So who then is Potato, and why is he trying to kill these kids all of a sudden? Well, my dear theorists, that's where the classic lore drops of cooking companions come in. Hidden throughout the game are secret notes that can only be accessed by interacting with an object over and over and over and over and over again until all the dialogue options are completely exhausted. By clicking on the cauldron in the kitchen, we find this note.
Hi, I saw the fence outside. Kids are needed? Please teach me the secret. I'll bring them here on Sunday. You won't have to do anything. Please teach me the secret.
As you can see, the spelling in these notes is, challenging, but that's actually a huge clue for us. After reading the note, Selena, the soon-to-be Cabbage, comments the following.
Did a kid write this? Either it was a kid or an adult who didn't do very well in school.
That language is important because when playing through the main game, we're given hints that one of the Chompettes did indeed drop out of school in order to work at the Butcher's. It's Potato. These letters are all coming from him. Potato apparently knew about the Baba Yaga that was living out in the cabin and wrote to them in the hopes that the killer would say yes to doing a collab. Now, this is an important factoid because last time we thought we were Potato's pupil, but it turns out to be the exact opposite. Potato actually wanted to be our student. If you pick Bolek's route and check the walls enough times, you'll find another note that says,
Hi, stop pretending like you aren't home. I was good. I did a good job. Please, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Teach me the secret.
Clearly, Potato went.
So yeah, it was basically what I suspected the whole time. We've always been the OG killer. Whether it's Baba Yaga or not, I don't know. But, Potato is like, a step down from us.
Around town killing people in an effort to boost his resume.
Ringo's whimpering under the door. I don't know why he wants to be with me.
Trying to get himself an acceptance letter from the Baba Yaga School for Serial Killers. But even though we were wrong about him being the Baba Yaga, we were right about him being the Butcher of Zakopane. Selena the Cabbage actually recounts the story of them finding a body stuffed into a potato barrel, with the killer running away as soon as they spot him. It's the same killer that then attacks the cabin, the Butcher. So now that we have ourselves access to all the information, here's how the story really wins. A group of 4 kids try to escape from a serial killer, the Butcher of Zakopane, by hiding down in the basement of a seemingly abandoned cabin in the woods. When the Butcher finds them and prepares his attack, the Baba Yaga returns home and slaughters them all for intruding, transforming the group into Potato and the rest of the Chompettes. Oh yeah, we also get to see Potato at the very end of the game. In one of the game's many secret Easter eggs, we get this jump
That makes
scare.
sense.
Our title screen is then sliced up into tiny little cubes. This, my friends, is the face of the Butcher. We know this thanks to his height relative to the kids, as well as one additional key detail, the knife he's holding. The knife that, as Potato, he would be so salty not to have. Straightening all this out now allows us to try and actually solve the biggest mystery of the entire game, the disappearance of Raziel, aka Cornbread. This elusive 6th Chompette is basically like the Golden Freddy of the franchise. Everyone keeps talking about him, there are hints to him everywhere, and clearly he's important to the story, but the only time we ever catch a glimpse of him is if we manage to unlock one of the hardest secret endings in the game. Raziel was a bit of an enigma during our previous theories, mainly because we had so little information to work off of. We're told that he's Oleg the Onion's relative, despite the fact that Bread calls him Cousin Cornbread. We know that he's been in the cabin before because of his tiny boat under the couch, and we know that eventually we eat him. The Baba Yaga consumes his flesh. Not really a whole lot to go off of, so last time I pitched my own idea, that Raziel came later, after the original Chompettes had all been killed. However, the new DLC proves otherwise. See, Raziel's already missing at the start of the story.
We get it, FNAF.
Yeah, basically that. In this prequel DLC, the kids decide to try solving the murders that are happening throughout Zakopane. In order to do that, Oleg needs to get some tips from his grandma, and the way he gets her to open up is by saying that he's gonna use the information to help find the missing Raziel. And when they do eventually find their way to that forest cabin, they can find the same toy boat with Raziel's name carved into it hiding under the couch. He's been here. He's been gone for quite some time. So what happened to this kid? What brought him here in the first place? Well, when Potato corners the kids down in the basement, he says this before finishing them off.
Say hi to Raziel for me.
He knows who Raziel is, but why? Well, I suspect that Raziel's the kid that Potato refers to in his original letter to the Baba Yaga. I saw the fence outside. Kids are needed? I'll bring him here on Sunday. The him in this case is Raziel. Potato brought him here to the Baba Yaga in order to prove his worth and hopefully learn the Baba Yaga's secret. Which does leave us with one final question. What is this secret that's so worth killing for? It keeps getting brought up. Potato writes to the Baba Yaga about it not just once, but twice. He wants to know it so badly that he's willing to sacrifice kids to get some answers. And yet, the game still leaves it ambiguous. That said, I think that I've figured out what the secret is. There's one thing that the Baba Yaga is well known for throughout Slavic folklore. Something that's often described as her big secret. That's the ability to become young again, living forever. And going back to the main game, we can actually confirm that this is the Baba Yaga's goal inside of Cooking Companions. By the end of your first playthrough, you're getting hit with a lot of information.
Oh my
the Chompettes are in a state of disarray. They're dropping vague hints as to their backstories. Your cooking companion Karen is starting to get real hungry for your flesh, and you're constantly passing out, flashing through weird hallucinations. It is in the middle of this chaos that we encounter Potato hiding inside of a drawer.
This is complicated.
And he asks us the following.
You seem to survive almost anything. Do I have that right? Must be that addiction to the meat. Or something else. Would you share that secret with me?
It's at this point that we can actually choose to tell him whatever it is that he wants to know so badly. If you do share the secret with him, he responds with,
I'm living longer than expected already, but this is good information to take with me.
So that basically confirms that the information he wants is related to extending your life in some way. But then, how do you do it? That brings us all the way back around to cannibalism and Raziel. Some folktales say that the Baba Yaga stays young by eating children, and while we search the cabin, we stumble across drawings of a small child being fed meat by a large black monster. We're told that these drawings are made by none other than Raziel. So this appears to be depicting the Baba Yaga preparing to consume our young little cornbread friend. But the Baba Yaga's eaten countless people before. It's why we keep seeing spirits of the dead all around the cabin. So what makes Raziel so different? Why did they move on to become cornbread rather than just stay in another angry spirit? Well, I think that's explained away by this drawing right here. A small boy surrounded by horrific faces.
Were you fattening him up, or were you scaring the hell out of him while you hesitated?
One does not simply eat kids. One does try to fatten them up before consumption. However, Raziel was different because the Baba Yaga started to connect with him. It started to care for the boy. We're told throughout the story that Raziel was a fountain of pure life and energy, a joy for everyone around him. I suspect, as Potato rightly calls out, that the Baba Yaga started to hesitate. It knew that it needed to consume Raziel to continue living, but it didn't want to sacrifice such a loving and sweet child. Eventually, the Baba Yaga does consume him, but the damage is done. The Baba Yaga continues killing and surviving, but does so begrudgingly. As Potato repeatedly calls out in the main game, we're slipping, we're getting sloppy, we don't care as much about what we're doing anymore. Because in the end, what good is eternal life if you have to be a lonely monster in order to get it? But hey, at this point I think it's pretty darn clear that since Cooking Companions first came out, I've been super invested in the franchise. But while I was waiting patiently for this DLC to drop, I had time to invest in something else, the stock market. Thanks in large part to today's sponsor, Public.com.
The stock market. So, Raziel was the one victim that made the Baba Yaga very guilty. Feel very guilty for killing and just changed their perspective on life. And then, how did the Baba Yaga even meet Raziel? See, that's the only part I didn't catch on to. And then there was like stuff in the second video that I didn't catch on to because I was eating my food. I was trying to get my food. But yeah, cool theory videos. I agree with them because I'm not very much of a theorist. I try my best to connect dots, but I'm just not very sure. But you know, it's nice to watch a theory video to maybe gather ideas from there. I try my best though. I think it was fun. This whole stream was fun. Oh crap. Oh yeah. I remember I think I said this at the beginning of the stream. I still have Class of 09 installed on my computer because there was still like one more thing that we didn't look at, but I think I'll just uninstall it, and I don't want to. I feel like I don't want to do it on stream. I'll just edit it for YouTube, obviously, as I usually do. Oh, I was on my VOD channel watching that. It doesn't make a difference. So, yeah, tomorrow, I don't know, we could start doing Baldi's or Minecraft, either one. I'll see which one I feel in the mood to do. And then, that's it. That's it for today. That was a pretty neat game. I wasn't expecting it to be as deep as it was. I thought it was just going to be another, like, funny twist game turns into horror. I wasn't expecting that much lore. Like, that was crazy. They did their research for that. And oh yeah, I do want to show this on stream. They have a new game coming out called Deadweight, and I feel like I'll play it. It doesn't have anything to do with Cooking Companions, but they kind of, the developers kind of connected them to, like, they're kind of like a package deal. Like, if you play Cooking Companions, you should play Deadweight. And if you play Deadweight, you should play Cooking Companions. Wait, is it called Deadweight? Maybe it's called something else. Let me look. It's on my wish list. It is Dreadweight. Okay, Dreadweight. Let me look up Dreadweight. Here we go. Dreadweight. Trapped in a crumbling mansion, it's up to you to outsmart and outlast an ancient witch hunting you down. Scavenge items to set traps, solve puzzles, and discover secret paths to avoid your demise. Don't be scared. Encounters with ghosts are rewarded in this horror visual novel. Oh my god, they have the dating sim with this one too? Damn. You can grow your relationships in this game. So it's kind of like it might be like they're in the same universe, but they're not actually connected at all, maybe. You know, it's probably like an Undertale Deltarune situation. Like, it has the very same aesthetics of Cooking Companions, but it definitely has nothing to do with it. Game Theory did this and someone is in? Hello? Oh, there's a demo! Okay, so yeah, you might have seen someone play the demo, but I'm gonna wait for, you know, the full release. There's no point in playing the demo when it's gonna come out very soon. Someone, really? Oh, did Game Theory play a demo?
I'm back.
Shh. Let me look it up. I don't know how much it's gonna cost. I think it might be in my budget. Or it might be free, I don't know. I want to see if they played the demo. Dreadweight. Oh. What is that? Let me see. They made a video about it. Oh, okay. So they played the demo. All I gotta say, I think one character from Cooking Companions is in it. Whee! Well, I will be playing it when it comes out. Yeah, I'll even set a reminder on my phone. I'm anticipating it. Because I thought Cooking Companions was pretty neat, so I'm anticipating it. Oh. Alright. But that's it for today. I just wanted to, mention the new game coming out. I will play it. July 29th. That's in 6 days. What day is that? 29th? I think I'm free that day. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, I'll probably play it when it comes out. Yeah. But I'll see you guys tomorrow for some more games. Bye!